Hello and welcome to Stop and Go F1, a brand new Formula One channel, because what the world needs is more white men talking about Formula One. So here we are with the very first video on the channel, and we're talking about Haas Formula One team and their 2023 car livery that has launched today. Let me pull up my images here. There we go, look at that. It's a beautiful car, has to be said. So this is their 2023 entry, and in true Haas style, they were the first team to show off their car, and in true Haas style, this is a computer rendering of what the Formula One car looks like rather than the actual Formula One car. I imagine we will get the first proper glimpses of the car. I think it was February 11th, which is when they're doing a rundown at Silverstone. So either they'll put out some official photos or there'll be some sneaky photographers around who can get some official photos. But what I'm going to do now is basically talk about this car as if this is the real car itself. Obviously, we don't know. I think there is some things that are being hidden that they're not showing on this rendering, but there are some also very interesting things that they've put in there that if they are on the actual car, I think could be of interest. But before we get there, let's talk about just the general design. And I like it a lot. I do like it. I think it's very good. I think the one thing I would change, I saw someone on Twitter say that this Haas logo here would be better in red. And I agree. I think it would look better in red. But I really like the black that they've added onto the older white livery. The white livery, it's been around for a few years now. Of course, there was the controversial Russian livery of last year, which didn't last very long for obvious reasons. So now we're here. It's a good mix of the old one mixed in with the new black, which could also be a callback to their black livery they had of like the Rich Energy days. But of course, the biggest addition is the MoneyGram. Here, this is their new title sponsor, and something that I think is very interesting, that when you look at the top-down view, it's a Uno reverse card here on the engine cover. Now, what are the rules of the Uno reverse card when it comes to Formula One? I'm not entirely sure. If someone overtakes them and they play the Uno reverse card, do they have to give the position back? That's my main question. That is a big question for me here, which is yet to be resolved. But let's talk about what probably will be one of, if not the biggest talking points for all the car reveals, I think, this year, and that is side pods. Now, my initial theory is that the majority of the grid will move towards the Red Bull side pods that we saw last year. Of course, we already saw the likes of Aston Martin and McLaren, and Alpha Tauri, of course, already moved to the Red Bull side pods before the end of last year. I imagine Mercedes will be adamant with the no pods and try and make that work. With the Haas here, it is quite difficult to see what kind of design they've gone for because they've just painted it completely black. But it does look like they've gone for the more of the Ferrari approach, which is not a surprise at all as they are affiliated with Ferrari. Especially you can see these little slits here, which I believe the Ferrari had last year. So, although I do think it is a little bit skinnier on the back end here than what the Ferrari had last year. So looks like they've gone for this way. I would not be surprised if Ferrari went that way as well. When we look at it from the front, I have to say, I don't like it as much, but you can get a good view here of the side of the side pod, and as you can see there, it's still fully there. The Red Bull one kind of cuts in here and goes straight there, whereas the Ferrari and the Haas have gone that way. From here, it doesn't look as good. I think they need to bring the black further into the nose cone here, because, black is a very slimming colour. And, it's like those dresses that kind of have the colour in the middle, then they have the black outlines to the side to kind of have a slimming effect. And I think that that's what this one needs here, because I don't want to body shame the Haas F1 car, but from the front, it looks rather thick. Also, this is the One Show logo that they've put on here. They've tried to hide it within the words MoneyGram, but we all know that's the logo for the One Show. You can't get that one past me there. I think the best view for this is the side view. Look at that. That is beautiful from the side. I think that's from everywhere else. Like that was the first image they released, and I was like, I'm not too sure. Then I saw that, and I was like, oh, I don't really like it. Then I saw that, and that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful there. Something I really like is how they've actually added something here on the wheel caps. I know McLaren last year had the Google Chrome on the wheels, but no one else really did anything with that. If we can zoom in, look how pixelated it is. But yeah, I like a little addition here because, you all have to have something on there. So why not just use it? I think, the best one ever. There you go, you can see my cloud converts to get rid of those awful WebP files. Braun GP wheels. These are still the best to ever do it. Look at these beauties. Look at them. Oh my goodness. And then that bit came off with the wheel gun. It was fantastic. But here we are with the Haas, and they've done a little bit of a design there. And you can actually see here as well the slits in the side pod again. When we go to this picture of the side view, here's something I think is very interesting. And this is going off the basis that this is what the car actually looks like, which we don't know if it is or not. I'm just thinking, though, looking from the side view there, it looks a lot more like a 2006, 2007 F1 car rather than like a 2022 one. But here is what I find interesting. Now, we've got the engine cover here, and there's like this shark fin on here. And firstly, the design of this is very interesting, because normally whenever an F1 car has one of these, it's more of a straight diagonal line. But we've got big chunks here going down onto the word MoneyGram. But then, look at this here. Now, I have no expertise in aerodynamics, so we're going to zoom in, and it's going to be awfully pixelated. But look at this. Now, this here, that is covering the exhaust, that wave there that comes out by here. But look, instead of going straight connected down, they've just gone for it a little bit up with these two connecting little pillars. I have no idea what this does. If you have a clue, let me know. But I've never seen any car like that before. So I think that's really something rather interesting to point out there. Is that an aerodynamics thing? Maybe. But something's going on there. I don't know what. Also, whilst we're talking about just the back of the car, obviously they've gone for the dark colours here, the grey on there, black on the side here, which could be very interesting because, as we all know, an interesting thing about the colour black is that it attracts heat and it holds in heat. And the Haas has a Ferrari engine, which famously last year liked to explode. So will that affect the engine here? Hopefully not. There's smarter people than I working on this car. I'm sure if having the engine cover black meant the engine was going to explode, they wouldn't do it. Now, one of the final things I want to talk about is this rear wing here, which is also very interesting because look at it. The first section of it is basically flat with a little curl up by here. Now, is this going to be a standard rear wing for the cars this year or not? I hadn't actually heard of anything changing on the rear wing, but that looks new to me and also says to me that this car is going to be very quick, very low downforce, very fast straight line speed. That reminds me of the kind of rear wing you would see when the cars are going around Monza. Very flat wings to not get any drag, not slow them down in any way. I imagine they'll have different rear wings for different races, but if that is the standard rear wing for this car, it may struggle for downforce, but it might be very quick. I'm hoping it is very quick for Haas this year. Right, is there anything else to talk about from here? Obviously, you've got 20 for Magnussen, 27 for the returning Hulkenberg. I think that is everything I really want to talk about this year of the car design. Oh, you can pull up two images at once. Isn't that great? It's all a learning experience here. We'll come back to the camera now. So Haas this year, of course, MoneyGram is their big new sponsor. Gunter Steiner has said that this year they'll be able to reach the cost cap, which is a huge thing for them. I think this will probably be their most profitable year in F1 before even a race has begun, which is always quite nice for them. The big question marks around Haas will be to do with Nico Hülkenberg. Of course, he's had a couple years off. I know he's been integrated with the Aston Martin team, and of course he did the couple races at the start last year while Sebastian Vettel had COVID. But will he be able to jump back into the car straight away and get a hangs of things? Personally, I think he will. I mean, we saw it with Magnussen. He came out the blocks really good. I think Hülkenberg will be equal to, if not better than that, because Magnussen was out of the world of Formula One, whereas Hülkenberg was a reserve driver, has driven a lot more recently than Magnussen had, so I think he'll be okay. Personally, I think they should have stuck with Mick, but they didn't, and here we are. So good luck to the Haas team. I really think we're going to see them take a bit of a leap this year. Whereas they've been more traditionally at the back, I think they're not going to be the top of the midfield, but I can definitely see them in the midfield. There'll be a bigger gap between them and the back, and I think hopefully they should have a good time. So that's all I've really got to say about the Haas for today. I'll see you next time, which I believe will be on Friday, when we will see the reveal of the Red Bull Formula One car for 2023. The reigning Constructors and Drivers World Champions. We'll see what they're going to bring to the table for this year. And I imagine it'll be a show car that looks exactly the same as last year. But let's wait and see. Goodbye!